Summarize written text. This task is the first task of your listening module and it is in section 1. There will be one question from this and you have 10 minutes time to answer. It is an important task for getting writing score, also listening score. The placement is, it is in listening, but it supplies great number of marks to writing. So if anybody wants to get good marks in writing, you have to make sure that you answer it well. The weightage of summarized spoken text is 9 marks in listening and 16 marks in writing. Just 9 it gives in listening, it is in listening module, but 16 marks it supplies in writing. We will have a look at a sample question. This is sample question. You can see the instruction. I'll read the instruction for you once so that you don't have to read it afterwards. You will hear a short lecture. Yes, you will hear a short lecture, which is in the range of 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. Generally, that's the length of summarized spoken text lecture. Write a summary for a fellow student who is not present. So you are expected to write a summary for a fellow student who is not present yet. That should be the tone. You are writing to a fellow student. You are not writing to a professor or something. Right? You should write minimum 50 words, maximum 70 words. Your answer has to be at least 50 words and no more than 70 words. For listening, writing the answer, verifying your answer, for all the activities, you have 10 minutes time. Your response will be judged based on the quality of your writing. Quality of your writing means, is it correct in terms of grammar, in terms of vocabulary, in terms of spelling? Is it relevant or not from the audio? Good points are collected or not? This is quality of your writing. And how well your response presents the key points presented in lecture. So it should have key points from the lecture, grammar correct, vocabulary correct, spelling correct, and it should be falling in the range of 50 to 70 words. And you don't have to worry about the word count. You do not have to calculate the words manually. So you have a word counter that helps you count words. You can see now the word counter says there are 10 words, and you can even see there is a timer. Timer is useful to track the time, and there are buttons like cut, copy, paste. If you wish to cut anything, you can cut, and if you want to paste it somewhere, you can paste it. If you want to copy paste anything, you can copy paste anything. The real test, you will not have AI feedback, restart buttons. You will only have next button. Remember, there is only one question from summarized spoken text. One question, 10 minutes time, you get to answer it. A common question in summarized spoken text: should I write the answer, that 50 to 70 word answer, in one sentence? There is no such thing. In summarized written text of writing module of PTE, right, you are expected to write the answer in one sentence. But in summarized spoken text, there is no condition of writing the answer in one sentence. However, there is a condition of what? Writing 50 to 70 words answer. In order to answer this question type, I have a 4-step formula. The first step in that is select. You get an audio or you get a lecture. In that lecture, first of all, you must have awareness which points are important, which points are not important. You got to have an idea on this, as well as you must have a clarity on how many points from the lecture are sufficient to get the score. This part is called selection. You selecting the points. You have clarity on which points and how many points to write is selection. Done? Now, after selection is done, there is something called collection. So since you know these are the points that are important in any lecture, you know the common structure. Then what you do? You will start writing notes on this erasable noteboard. In the examination, you will be provided with this erasable. If anyone took the test already, you know it will be provided to you. So on erasable noteboard, what you do, you IC basically. I'll explain you that later. So once you start listening to the audio, what you do is you write the topic here, you write the important points in this section, and you write the conclusion here. So this is called collection. To write, you have this pen. This is the pen that Pearson BT gives you. You can happily use this pen. You don't have to purchase it. Pearson gives you this pen on the test day. Couple of pens it gives you. The test center gives you. Okay. So selection, knowing how much to write, what to pick up, how much to pick up from the audio. Collection, writing those points when the audio is progressing. Now, the third step is connection. Connection is your points, whatever you have written here, you will connect these points with the template, a proven template, right? Done. Now the connection is done. At last, this step, almost everybody forgets. Correction step. The correction is nothing but proofreading your answer. word by word and fixing errors in your answer. Errors like spelling, grammar, spacing, capitalization, punctuation, such errors you have to fix. So 4 steps: selection, first step; collection, second step; connection, third step with the template; fourth step is correction if there are any potential errors in your answer. With these 4 steps, you can develop a 100% accurate answer and get complete 9 marks in listening, complete 16 marks in writing. Now let's learn selection. Now let's understand the audio structure. Any audio, so the audio you get in the test is probably in the range of generally 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. 1 minute is the common duration, 1.5 minutes maximum, 1 minute minimum. We need to understand the structure of the audio. So any audio in the first 10 seconds, you are looking at this slot. In the first 10 seconds, the speaker that is delivering this audio will reveal the topic. This is called topic part. So instead of listening to the audio, randomly writing the points, if you have awareness on the structure, you can write a perfect and fantastic notes. So this is topic. And the last 10 seconds, generally the speaker concludes the lecture. This is what? Conclusion. This is conclusion, right? And in between, you have many supporting points. All right, maybe depending on the length of the lecture, there can be some 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 supporting points given by the lecturer during the delivery of lecture. So basic format is this: lecture's length is 1 to 1.5 minutes. First 10 seconds is topic, last 10 seconds is conclusion. In between, you have some important points. Now, how many important points are necessary in order to write a summarized spoken text answer? I have tested it rigorously in the examination, the old exams, also the new improved PTE, everywhere. I think when I'm making this video, my exam was only 2 months old. That's it. Okay. So you need how many? Around 3 points from between the audio. So you will capture 1 point by listening to the audio carefully in the first 10 seconds. You capture 1 more point by listening to the audio carefully towards the end of the audio. In between any 3 points you capture, you are done with yours. This is the notes taking process. One thing I would like to tell you before we start off with notes writing: you cannot listen and write at the same time. So when you're listening to a point, you cannot probably write perfectly. When you're writing, you cannot capture a point. At least in the initial few days, please don't try to do it. Once you become very much confident with your summarized spoken text note writing, you can do dual tasking. While listening, you're writing; while writing, you are listening. So this can happen later on when you have that comfort, but don't mix up these 2 things for your better notes. Now let us answer a sample question. So I'm going to write notes here.
New York's lack of megatall skyscrapers actually has nothing to do with engineering. It's entirely feasible to build over 600 meters high in the city thanks to solid bedrock and an incredible amount of expertise in the local area. If you wanted to build a megatall, then you could. But that's the problem. Hardly anyone wants to build a skyscraper that high in this city for a whole host of reasons. Firstly, there just isn't the demand. Manhattan's office market, which drove construction of the Empire State, World Trade Center, and One Vanderbilt, had become saturated before the pandemic and will likely take some time to recover afterwards. The luxury real estate market, which drove the construction of several super slender towers from small parcels of land along Billionaires Row in recent years, has also been cooling off. Those structures only really became financially viable because of the prices they were able to command for their location and park views. You couldn't let commercial office space for anywhere near the same rate. Past megatall skyscrapers have cost well over $1 billion to construct, so any developer would need to recoup a pretty considerable sum from office or residential lets to make a profit. But past megatall skyscrapers were not constructed in New York, a market that frequently tops the list of the world's most expensive cities to build in. Projects here cost several $100s more per square foot to build than in the Middle East or Asia.
So this is my notes. I will bring it to screen to explain you. So selection is done. Now collection is also done. We will now work on collection and correction, both the steps. Now, please look at the notes that I wrote. You see, this is T section, which is topic section. This information I captured in the first 10 seconds. What is it? New York's mega tall skyscrapers can be as tall as what? 600 meters. That's what I wrote as the topic point. And the people have expertise. It is possible to build such tall skyscrapers, but when the market is not interested in the skyscrapers because of the demand drop, because of the drop in the demand that I wrote. The luxury real estate, RE is, I wrote as a shortcut for real estate, cooling off, coming down. So it costs about 1 billion to construct a skyscraper, and the profit is important. The builders are not finding it profitable. The companies that are willing to build it are not finding it comfortable, right? And the conclusion, what he said, the speaker, New York, you don't have to write completely. I wrote here. NY is most expensive place. And the construction cost here is what, few hundred US dollars more than Middle East and Asia. This is the notes I took. Please, I'll explain you. First 10 seconds is this T. Later on, I, which is in between whatever the point speaker said. I wrote a few points. Not necessary you have to write each and every point. You don't have to write. You cannot write each and every point. Conclusion is what the last point delivered by the speaker. So this is the structure. If you can follow before starting the notes only, you can write down TIC. No need to put that rounding thing. Just TIC you write down. Against T you write topic. Against I you write 3 important points. Against T you write what? One conclusion point. This is excellent notes anybody can take. All right. So now using these notes, how to write the answer, we will have to look. So far we are done with selection of points, collection of points. The next step is connection, or connecting it, the content what you gathered with the template. So if you go to material access, you go to listening, you have summarized spoken text template, right? It comes up here. So it's a beautiful notes you have, can go through, right? So this is the template. The lecture was all about, you write the main topic. What is the main topic? The skyscrapers in the mega tall skyscrapers in New York. At first, speaker talked, there is no lack of expertise and possibility, but in general, the builders are not interested in constructing them. Later, he discussed the lessening demand, right? And he also spoke that the luxury real estate is cooling off, right? And he also said what 1 billion is the cost to construct one skyscraper. It takes $1 billion to construct one skyscraper, he said, and which is not profitable for stakeholders, the builders or the real estate companies. It is not profitable. That's what he said. At last, he concluded mentioning what New York is the most expensive place. The construction cost is higher than the Middle East and Asian countries. That's what he said. Let's type it in the answer. So the first point, what is there in the template? Let's see. The lecture was all about. So what do you write here? The lecture was all about what? What we have in the notes? New York's mega tall skyscraper, which can be as tall as 600 meters. Okay. What's that? About New York's mega tall skyscrapers, which are as tall as 600 meters. Right? Right, fine. So you don't please worry about grammar so much, because small grammar errors are fine in this task, because you're writing it to a fellow student. You can see here in the first line of instruction, write a summary for a fellow student. Small errors are fine. Okay, the next one, what is it? The template. You go to template. At first, the speaker talked. What he talked. At first, the speaker talked. Expertise, possibilities are there to build such skyscrapers, but builders are not interested. Right? What? Although possibility will be T and expertise. Possibility, expertise are at this first off, despite possibility expertise. Despite possibility of expertise to build them, the builders are not maybe showing interest. First point, topic point is over. First point is over. Now we will look at This is what we wrote. Expert is there, possibility is there, but they are not showing interest in building these structures. Right. Now, let's go to template. What is it? Later, he discussed, one more point you can add. Later, he discussed what? Demand is down, especially for the luxury real estate, because the luxury real estate market is cooling off. Okay. Right. What is the point? Later, he discussed what? The demand as the luxury real estate is cooling off. Okay, so this is also done. Then the template says what? He also spoke that. Okay, the template says what? He also spoke that. What he said? He also spoke that it takes $1 billion to build one skyscraper. It takes $1 billion to build maybe skyscraper. And then at last he concluded mentioning, at last he said you can write. New York is expensive than other places. That's what is there in this. New York is comparatively an expensive city. Right. 73. Our limit is 70 only. So the lecture was all about, let's remove all. It was about New York's mega tall skyscrapers. So this is additional detail. I can remove it if I want. Yeah, so this is basic sentence. Fine. At first we talked possibility and expertise to build the skyscrapers. Yes, although, can write although possibility expertise to build them is present. The builders are not showing. Although possibility and expertise is available. Is available. Right, is available. Available. Okay. The builders are not showing interest. Right. Later he discussed the demand. Later he discussed demand is not great as luxury real estate market is cooling off. Fine. He also spoke that it takes $1 billion to build one skyscraper. At last, he said what? New York is comparatively an expensive city to build such maybe structure. 73. Again, we have to put, cut off, remove certain things. Despite expertise, you maybe not coming up. The demand is not great. He also spoke that it takes $1 billion to build one skyscraper. At last, I said New York is comparatively what? An expensive city to build such structures. All right, done. It is. Now, let me submit. You can do a proofreading piece here. You can do proofreading piece. You have time, of course. I'm not doing, I wanted to show you if there are any mistakes. That mistakes also I want to show you. That's why I'm not doing it. So here, when you're using my portal, you have to click AI feedback. When you are giving the exam, after thoroughly checking spelling, spacing, grammar, everything, click the next button. Now, for now, I'm clicking the feedback. So my site takes slightly more time to give feedback because it not only tells you the score, it also tells you where to improve, how to better your answer. Acting like a trainer 24/7, not just assessor, right? You can see now the scores are like this. Please see. Content, let me maximize this. The content score is 3 I got on the scale of 4. Grammar score 1.5 I got on the scale of 2. Spelling I got 2. Vocabulary I got 1.5. Form I got 2. So total assessment points are 12. I got what? 9.5. Okay, what is the reason? Let's see. The content generally, our system, our practice portal is 15% stricter than the original VAT academic algorithm. So that's why you get to see slightly lesser score in content. That's okay. So grammar also, it gives slightly lesser marks in grammar because we have designed it to give you lesser than what you deserve, just to make you feel more, serious about the test. Spelling 2 on 2, there is no spelling mistake. Vocabulary 1.5 because there are spelling mistakes that also impact vocabulary. Form 1.5, form should have been 2, right? So basically, you are seeing slightly lesser marks. Maybe 15% lesser marks because we trained the system to give you lesser marks for maintaining the seriousness throughout the preparation. All right, consistency also. Now we'll see how to get 4 points on 4 points in content. If you write topic, 3 important points, conclusion, you will definitely get 4 points by 4 points in real examination. Grammar, if you don't have any big grammar errors, minute ones, a versus an errors, to versus in error, these are fine. But if your answer does not have any significant grammar errors, serious grammar errors, you should get what? Close to 2 in the real examination. Don't write grammar errors, get 2 points in grammar. Spelling, don't write spelling errors, get 2 points in spelling. Vocabulary, write appropriate words, suitable words to get what? Maximum score in vocabulary. Form, if you write 50 to 70 words, you will get your 2 by 2 here, 2 points by 2 points. So if you get 12 here, that means you are getting 9 marks in listening and then 16 marks in writing. So this 12 is nothing but, it is, if you translate to marks, if you get 12, 9 in listening, 16 in writing, that's the score. All right. Now we will see the feedback by the AI tutor. The summary captured the main idea that New York lacks mega tall skyscrapers due to insufficient demand and high construction costs. It mentioned key supporting details such as cooling, luxury, real estate market, and $1 billion cost of constructing a skyscraper. See, it is giving you that validation that you're writing good points. So maybe in the morning, 1 o'clock you're practicing, or in the afternoon, 2 o'clock you're practicing. Every time you have a trainer-like feedback coming here. But it is asking us to make it better by doing what? Include more details about reasons, lack of demand, specific challenges. So you can, including more details is not writing more words. Within the words only precisely it is expecting you to write. This is only a suggestion. Already it is good. Okay. Farm summary. What is farm feedback? The summary is well structured. Okay. Slightly word limit is also fine, 50 to 70. There's no much sentence separation is all fine, no problem. In the exam, if you write 50 to 70 words, you get the marks. Grammar feedback. There are minor grammatical issues. The new constructions are not coming up. The new constructions are not being developed is the perfect manner. I said this is not a problem in the real examination because the real exam grammar is not going to be very critically analyzed because it's an informal task. You are writing it to a friend. Small grammar errors, not big grammar errors. Small grammar errors are fine. All right. So it is asking you to develop what better the subject-verb agreement. That's fine, not a problem. The use of terms like megatal. I think what I wrote here, megatal. So I wrote megatal should be together. Okay, I think I messed up. I was purposefully not verifying things because I wanted to show you how those problems reflect in the analysis. Megatal for accuracy. Consider using more varied vocabulary. For example, great, you can use significant, substantial. You can see you are getting references for what kind of words you can use in the next answers, which is wonderful thing. If anybody can, use and improve, they will be able to, learn things at 3x, 4x speed. Spelling is mostly correct with things like cooling. Cooling spelling is not wrong. Regularly practicing spelling difficult words will improve the accuracy. This is what it says. It is feedback. So guys, this is summarize spoken text for you. Final wrap up. Summarize spoken text is the first task of your listening module. It supplies 9 marks in listening, 16 marks in writing. All you have to do is you have to listen to a lecture, write a very neat notes like this, and this notes you have to convert to an answer using template. So there is selection, knowing what is important, what is not important. Collection, writing the notes like this. Connection, connecting these notes with the template. Correction, fixing the errors in your answer. and then you can submit the answer. So the common mistakes in summarized spoken text is it is the excessive notes taking or unclear notes taking, right? Using only limited information from the audio, more templated stuff. If you write, it is not going to be working well. So when you write point, the points have to be meaningful points. You cannot write a random words, variety of random words and get marks. So every time you're writing a point, it should be a meaningful point. I recommend you practicing 30 questions before going to the test. Let's say you have exam in next 30 days. You should practice every day one question until the next 30 days. 31st day you're taking the test. Daily one question if you practice, you will see the improvement over a period of time. So don't try to get very much pro at this task in 1-2 days. You may become one, depending on your language skills, your grasping ability. That's a different story. But it will take 1 week, 10 days time for somebody to become absolutely comfortable with summarized spoken text. There's one positive side effect with summarized spoken text. That is, if you learn the selection, collection, connection steps from this, these 3 steps are useful in Retell Lecture. But by nature, summarized spoken text, Retell Lecture, almost same. Only in Retell Lecture, what you do, so same notes, same template, you will speak out. Here you type. That's the only difference. So if you're preparing for this task, indirectly you are preparing for Retell Lecture, which is present in speaking module and responsible for that. Retell Lecture task is responsible for good speaking score and good listening score. So when you're practicing summarized spoken text, it's not just summarized spoken text. I'm sure it adds up to, it motivates you to practice regularly. See, thousands of PTE practice questions. Like essays, we have 101 essays we are adding based on our exam experiences. Look at this, it has grammar. For example, you are lacking in subject verb agreement. You can go and work on 5 levels of subject verb agreement exercises. Nobody is lecturing you on grammar. You are simply learning based on the activities. Now for improving vocabulary, we have vocabulary improvement section and listening spelling section. So if you want to improve the exam familiarity, we have 10 mock tests coming here. Each mock test, when you write, gives you score. It gives you insights where you're doing well, where you're not doing well, all that stuff. And you can even access your answers once you finish the exam. So all the materials, like the latest guides, templates, everything is mentioned here. And the entire course recording is available. Latest class recording is available, including my real exam experiences. So, right, all the basics. Now, this is my real exam experience, the exam that I took on January 26th, January 30, 2026 or something. So everything, it's a complete package. Don't hesitate to buy this. The subscription is starting from just, I think, 1,500 rupees in Indian currency for a week's subscription. So every feature is going to come in the 1 week subscription plan. I'll meet you with the new essay sample question and answer. Stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you find value in my channel, please do subscribe.